Okay, guys, so before I describe this book, I just want to say that there is a link below in the description if you want to purchase this book. And big spoiler up ahead, this book is 10 out of 10. It's absolutely amazing, so hope you guys enjoy. Hello, welcome to my channel. This is a book review of the Next Christendom by Philip Jenkins. Alright guys, so I just first want to say that this is a textbook. It is a Christian textbook. This was one of my required readings when I was at Ohio Christian University, and I read this in one of the church history classes, and it was just absolutely amazing. And so I want to dive down and tell you guys what this book is all about. And so just kind of an overview here. It is a textbook on the history and projection of Christianity, and unlike other church history books that deal with the past, this book deals a lot with Christianity, where it has been and where it is going, where it's headed. And there's also so much to learn from current church history, as well as the changing demographics throughout the hemispheres and socioeconomic classes throughout the world in just the past few decades. So when you just study church history from thousands of years ago, that's important, but studying church history of what's happening now is really important, and that's what this book is all about. It was surprising to see how much church history there really was that has already happened in the 21st century. And so this book right here is a second edition. This is written in 2011, and throughout the book, projections are made in terms of numbers and predictions for the year 2025 and 2050. Now, I will say that for a textbook, it follows the standard professional guidelines. With basically, bias is kept to a minimum. And as a Christian book, normally you would think that there would be some type of religious bias, but the facts are just laid clear, and the narrative is really taken out of it, and it's just really the facts, and yet it's not as dry. And so, just a few things here. The book does not try to paint a narrative of what is happening with Christianity either as good or bad, but it's just that this is what's happening and we should be aware of it. That's the approach that it takes, and I found that really helpful. There's also a lot of history given on other major world religions and how those have interacted with Christianity and vice versa. So this was also surprisingly well written in a way that was not slandering these other faith groups. There were equal compliments and blows to go around. And so, for example, what Muslims unjustly did to Christians, as well as what Christians unjustly did to Muslims and even other Christian groups. Things like that throughout history were shared. And so I really appreciate the author's candor in reporting the facts, and the book breaks down what we would normally think of an average Christian. So the premise of the book is that Christianity is no longer a Western religion in the way that we're used to thinking of it. Instead, the majority of Christians throughout many denominations, even including Catholicism, is no longer in the first world nations, but in third world nations, in these developing countries. Christianity is on the rise in South America, Africa, and Asia. So one thing that I thought that was really interesting that the author points out is that most of these Christians popping up in these new countries are liberal when it comes to economics, but conservative when it comes to morality and faith. And so it's weird for a Westerner to think about that, but unlike many mainstream Protestant denominations that have allowed, for example, homosexuality to be okay in the church, these new faiths are following the scriptures and the roots of the church. So one such projection in this book actually came true, and that was the Methodist vote against homosexuality becoming okay. So many American and European churches that met in the council just a year or two ago were in favor of changing the church's stance on allowing homosexuality and allowing the homosexual behavior. Where the majority of these Christian leaders from these poorer nations who are growing exponentially, they voted in favor of upholding the biblical stance and vote against the social norms of these elite nations. And so I just had a few favorite quotes here that I just want to say that this book was amazing. Favorite quote, first found on page 51, is that Christianity exercises an overwhelming global appeal, which shows not the slightest sign of waning. Another one of my favorite quotes is actually found on page 252, and this is what it says. There is a tradition on human sexuality that was passed to us by the apostles, and if we're an apostolic church, how come the Episcopal Church claims they are better than St. Paul? So that was a quote taken in context of some of the changes and friction that's happening from these leaders in these new nations with these old leaders from these old nations that have been in power a long time and are starting to stray away. And just another amazing quote from this book, found on page 275. Christianity is flourishing wonderfully among the poor and persecuted, while it atrophies among the rich and secure. And so I just want to say, as a book, as a textbook, I'm going to have to give this a 10 out of 10. Very rarely will I ever give a book a 10 out of 10, but in terms of a textbook and how well the textbook was written, as a Christian, looking and learning about more of the faith and the history of the faith and where we're going today, I would highly encourage this book. 10 out of 10. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please comment below and let me know what you guys think, and feel free to like and subscribe.